On today's Be the Teacher, we will be discussing set design. What is set design and how do people find sets? When picking locations for your film, you're casting your film with actors who have a lot of character. So you should find locations with a lot of character. I mean, don't just go for generic locations like a bookstore or a restaurant. Go with specific settings that will be memorable to your audience, such as a quaint boutique bookstore or a French cafe with a patio overlooking a park. I mean, does your character live in a small, messy apartment or a lavish house on a gated grounds with an Olympic-sized swimming pool? All the scenery, furniture, and props the audience sees during the film make up the set design, and the set designer's job is to design these physical surroundings in which the action will take place. The overall look of the set also gives the audience information about the director's concept of the production. That's right, once again we're starting with the director's treatment and script. The set should suggest the style and tone of the whole production, create the mood and atmosphere, give clues to the specific time and place of action, and offer creative possibilities for the moving and grouping of the actors. All the things appearing in the film other than the scenery are called properties or props. Set props like furniture, draperies, and decorations are the types of things that complete the set, and they need to be part of the design. So the set designer will normally read the script many times, both to get a feel for the flavor and spirit of the script and to list its specific requirements for scenery, furnishing, and props. One place where movies take place are soundstages. Soundstages are a convenient way to shoot interior scenes, mainly because you don't have to worry about unplanned sounds interrupting your takes. A soundstage is basically a soundproof room. All exterior sounds are blocked out of an industrial soundstage after the doors are closed. A soundstage is an acoustic environment that has padded walls that absorb sound to prevent the echo or reverb in your dialogue, as would happen if you filmed in an uncarpeted room. For example, look at this picture here. This picture here is from The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. You didn't know that that subway scene actually took place in a soundstage in front of a green screen. See, an advantage of shooting on a soundstage is that you can set up several interior sets for different locations in your script without having to move your whole production team. You can have a courtroom, a cell block, an apartment, a coffee shop, and an interior fast food restaurant all on the same soundstage. For example, look at this soundstage from the movie Enchanted. This is a ballroom that is being built from a model on a soundstage. And the ballroom is not the only room that you'll find on this particular soundstage. For example, there's this bathroom that they use at one point in the movie, and there's the apartment where the main characters live in the story. All of these different environments are located on one soundstage. And again, this is the movie Enchanted. In addition to soundstages, there are a number of outdoor locations that can also be used. I mean, filming on a soundstage or in a warehouse is not always practical. You may not have the budget to do it, so sometimes you can find a location at which you can film for free or for a price that's within your budget. By shooting on location, you don't have to start from scratch and construct sets for every scene in your film, because that's not always practical, especially on a low budget. Whether you're in Los Angeles, New York, or a small town in the Midwest, you're sure to find a vacant building that can work wonders for your story. And it's just waiting to be razed. That means knocked down or renovated. From an old restaurant that's been shut down to a bank that closed its doors, you can usually negotiate with the building owner or the government to film on an existing set. For example, here's a shot of Will Smith in I Am Legend, where they shut down one of the streets of Manhattan, Park Avenue, to film the movie. The thing about filming on location is that you have to make sure that the place you choose is appropriate for sound as well as all the crew and equipment you'll be bringing. In New York City, you have the Made in New York office sponsored by the government, where you can go and you can apply for a permit online. There's information here about when a permit is required, and fee info. They'll also tell you about insurance requirements and optional permits that you may need to get. And look at this, it's only $300 to apply for a permit, and the fees after that are not that expensive. That's to film in New York. And then they tell you how to notify the neighborhood and talk to the people who live in that neighborhood so that they know you're coming. It's really become quite easy to film in New York City, to get the permits, to get the sheets necessary to shut down a street, and to even have access to police officers who will work your movie set throughout the day, helping you to secure the area and keep your movie free from people who might want to make a surprise appearance. Plenty of famous movies have been shot on location, even in Manhattan, like Breakfast at Tiffany's, Captain America, The First Avenger, movies like The Avengers, The Dark Knight Rises, upcoming movies like The Avengers 2, and even TV shows like Doctor Who, Elementary, and Glee. Check out this shoot here. As I said, with a permit in New York, you get access to a police officer who many times will help you to secure your set, access to the streets, like for this truck here filled with equipment, or this back here which must be craft services. And check this out, you get to take over the streets. I bet you didn't know a driving scene was filmed like this. That's right, the person behind the wheel of the car is going to look like he or she is driving a car. When deciding on locations, make sure they are appropriate for sound. You don't want a location that's too close to a freeway or a construction site. In fact, here's a list of things to consider when scouting locations. Is parking available for cast and crew and equipment vehicles? Is there a bathroom facility nearby? Is it a quiet location away from traffic, train tracks, outdoor fountains? Is there electricity available to plug in your lights? If not, you're going to need a generator. If you're shooting out of town, are there overnight accommodations nearby? Is there air traffic noise if the site is en route to an airport? Do you have space to set up a picnic area to feed your cast and crew? If you didn't know, you always need craft services. That's right, you have to have food on the set to feed the members of the cast and crew as the day goes on, because these are long days. And you want that food to be good. Anyone will tell you. Oh, can you get permission to shoot there? Do you need a permit? And if so, can you afford to film there? Does using the site require the hiring of a police officer to stop foot or street traffic? Is there a photocopy store nearby for copying the next day's schedules and scripts? Do cell phones work in the area? I mean, I live in Manhattan, and sometimes my cell phone doesn't work in the middle of Central Park. Remember, finding that perfect location that works both inside as an interior and outside as an exterior may be difficult. So, sometimes you can film the exterior of one place and then use a different interior, or even construct the indoor rooms on a soundstage. So you can film both on location and in a soundstage. Remember that apartment that we talked about for Enchanted? The inside that was built on a soundstage? If you watch the movie, you'll see that that's exactly what they did when filming Enchanted. They showed you this apartment that doesn't really exist. It's been built on a soundstage somewhere in a studio over in Brooklyn. And then they cut to shots like this that show you the building from the outside. Now you believe that that apartment is in that building. As I said, they filmed the exterior of one place and then use an interior that's been built on a soundstage. Doing so gave them so much more control over the environment, over the sound, over the lighting, and over the shoot. So that's it. That's it for this episode of Be the Teacher. You now know all about sets, about filming on location, filming on a soundstage. I hope you understand set design, and I hope you understand what's required of you, and I'll see you on the next episode of Be the Teacher.